What is going on, YouTube? So coming back today with a video that I did kind of a version of last year. Last year I did my top 25 college football programs over the next 5 years. And today I'm going to kind of double down with it and go my top 10 college football programs over the next 10 years. Kind of like ESPN's future power rankings. Not really. If you did not see my video last year, I will give you my top 10 right now that I had in it. Actually, with the 5 outside, because I'm doing a 5 outside in this one. Last year, I had TCU in this order, starting with the 5 outside. TCU, Notre Dame, Texas, Clemson, Tennessee, Michigan, Georgia, Baylor, LSU, USC, Oregon, Florida State, Auburn, Alabama, and Ohio State. So there's a little bit of a change here, not too much. I obviously... different things happened. It's basically a 2 years difference at this point, because looking ahead to next year instead of using what last year's projections were and the year before that, and then obviously looking 10 years looking 5 years even further. So let's go ahead and start with the 5 outside, and I'm going to start with the Michigan State Spartans. So 5 outside are not in any particular order, just so you guys know this, but Michigan State's a team that, you can't really count out while they got Mark D'Antonio as a head coach. He's built something great at Michigan State that, no one really thought he could build. Michigan State has, I don't know if they currently are. Actually, yeah, they currently are the best team or best college football team in Michigan. Until Michigan can beat them, it's been a while. Been a couple of years now since Michigan's been able to beat Michigan State. Michigan State has been the dominant football program in Michigan over the last couple of years. And, I don't know if that's going to continue, because Michigan looks like they're going to be very good this year. And Jim Harbaugh hasn't gone in the right direction. But that's not to say that Michigan State's going to be torn down just because they'll still be a top 25 team this year. They just don't have as much talent as they did last year. Next one is TCU. So TCU seems to finally have, righted the ship. Kind of rough first few seasons in the Big 12, and then 2014 a complete turnaround, and they were pretty good last year. Finished pretty much third in the Big 12. Apart from losses to both the Oklahoma schools, it was pretty much a damn near perfect season, and it pretty much was. So next one is Georgia. Kirby Smart comes in. I think that Georgia will be. They're still bad. They're still at the top of the SEC East, but I think that the top of the SEC East is going to be a battle for the next 10 years, and I think it's going to be very fun to watch, because I think that the SEC East has 3 very good head coaches at the helm now, between Kirby Smart, Jim McElwain, and Butch Jones, if all 3 of those head coaches elect to stay there or do not get fired. So next one, the Oregon Ducks. Now, again, I had Oregon at number 5 last year, but here's my thing with Oregon right now. Mark Helfrich, while he seems like a decent coach, it's just not the same team they had under Chip Kelly. Ever since Mariota left, which honestly, obviously wasn't that long. It's only been 1 season without him. They haven't tried to develop a quarterback. They've been using the graduate transfer, and obviously that's not a big key to long-term success. You've got to be able to develop your quarterback and develop your offense around it. Get some form of defense, too. We'll see if they can be able to do that. And at number 1 on the 5 outside, I got Stanford. I would put Stanford a little bit ahead of Oregon if I could. Now, Stanford, honestly, over the last couple of years, has been the dominant team in the Pac-12. They won the Pac-12 again last year. Looks like they're the favorites heading into this year as well. Christian McCaffrey's probably gone after this year, but David Shaw's done a phenomenal job at Stanford. They've been competing year in and year out, regardless if they had Christian McCaffrey or not, going all the way back to Andrew Luck and even before that. The fact that Kevin Hogan played in 3 Rose Bowls in his 4 years at Stanford, it says a lot. So moving to the top 10, and starting at number 10, I got Clemson. Now, here's why I've got Clemson number 10 and not higher. While I think that Dabo Swinney really has that program going in the right direction, and I think that they will compete for a national title this year, no doubt. Actually, right now in my mind, they're the favorite to win the national title. Deshaun Watson plays a big part in that. That guy is maybe a once-in-a-lifetime quarterback for that program. It is a night and day difference between him and Cole Stout from 2014. I get it, that was his freshman year. It was a different Clemson team. but this guy is maybe the best player in college football, best quarterback hands down. You know, we'll see what happens after they lose him. I think it might take a ton, or I won't say take a tumble, but I think they're going to lose a step for maybe a year or two, and then be able to get back on top. But I think they're not at that consistent point yet of being, at the top of their conference. I think there's still going to be a couple years in there where, maybe a Miami or Virginia Tech or a UNC or, Louisville steps up and, maybe for a year or two just is able to overtake them. But for the most part, I still think Clemson is definitely going to be a top 10 team. So number 9, I got Florida. And again, I just think Florida's righted the ship finally. I think they're headed down a good road with Jim McElwain. If they can keep a consistent offense, then they'll be a good team in college football over the next decade. Number 8, I got Tennessee. Tennessee headed in the right direction. For Tennessee fans, thank God. The way they're trending right now looks good. They're the favorites right now to win the SEC East. We'll see what happens after the SEC media days. And they were one win away from winning the SEC East last year. In my mind, they're not the favorite this year. I think that's still Florida. But again, another team headed in the right direction. Number 7, I got the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. And again, very consistent program over the last couple of years. And I think they're going to keep going that way. They've been recruiting well. Brian Kelly's kept a stable coaching job there that's, been going pretty well over the last couple of years. They're going to be a college football playoff contender again this year, and it seems like well into the next couple of years they will be too. Number 6, I got the LSU Tigers. It's hard with LSU because they always have so much talent, and it's LSU, so you can't ever really count them out. But at the same time, LSU has not been a pretty college football team over the last 2-3 years. The offense just has kind of sputtered. I mean, granted, LSU's offense isn't really ever the calling card. It's normally the defense, but we'll see how it goes this year. Again, if Les Miles ends up losing his job and they get some subpar coaching hire, then it could take a couple years to recover, which I could see that road happening, but I could also see LSU riding the ship, which is why I got them at number 6 and maybe not number 4. Or instead of at number 10. LSU is a tough team to spot in this top 10. So at number 5, I've got the Oklahoma Sooners, which is crazy because I had them at number 22 last year. Because it really, let's be honest, it seemed like last year OU was just kind of falling out of contention on a consistent basis. 2013, they were able to beat Oklahoma State at the end of the year, and able to beat Alabama in the Sugar Bowl. And, it seemed like they were just kind of the Utah of 2013. And then in 2014, they go and had a pretty subpar year. What was it, going 8-5? I believe so. And wasn't looking good for OU. Heading into last year with Baker Mayfield at quarterback, there were a lot of question marks, and then obviously you saw what happened. With Lincoln Riley at the helm and with how well Bob Stoops has recruited this last year and a half, it seems like OU's just they're headed down a good path in my mind. I am an Oklahoma State fan, but wasn't born and raised that way. I just go to the school, so I can respect OU and their program and how good they've been and how good they will be. So next one, number 4, Michigan Wolverines. Again, program that last year I had at number 10, so decently big risers here. It seems like Jim Harbaugh has this program to compete in the top 5 for the next couple of years. They've been recruiting at an elite level, and Jim Harbaugh is an elite coach, so those two equal a very, very good contender every year. At number 3, I got Florida State, and again, I had Florida State number 4 last year. The missing team from the top 5 altogether is Auburn. Because, man, they're not headed down a good road right now. But anyway, at number 3, we got, like I said, Florida State. Seems like they'll be able to compete this year. Question marks mainly at quarterback, whether it's going to be DeAndre Francois, Sean McGuire. I don't really know who it should be. I'm probably going to do a little bit more research into the situation. I've seen every single player play. But or JJ Constantino also. I don't think it should be Constantino, though. But I do think that they need to figure that out soon, make in my opinion, the best option for the short term because they're always able to recruit quarterbacks and be able to compete this year because this is probably their last year with Dalvin Cook. And once again, they've got an elite defense between Josh Sweet and Derwin James. So, and offense, Travis Rudolph, like I said, Dalvin Cook as well. Team that could definitely put things together this year, and a team that's been one of the best teams in college football over the last 15 years, arguably outside of Alabama the best. And them, Ohio State and Alabama have been the three best in my mind. Which leads me into number 2, which is Ohio State. And again, it might be a little bit of a down year for them. I think that they won't really miss a beat. Just coming, 1 year off a national championship. So, Urban Meyer, in my mind, almost everyone else's mind too right now, second best coach in college football. And I think it's going to continue being that way. I think Ohio State's going to continue to be an elite program, battling Alabama for national championships year in and year out. And that leads me to number 1, which is Alabama. Again, they won the national championship last year. It's hard to not slot them at number 1 with all the national championships they've won over the last 8 years. And it seems like as long as Nick Saban's at the helm, as long as they continue recruiting the way they've been recruiting and just been at such an elite level in every single way possible between coaching, facilities, recruiting, just on-field performance, home field advantage, just everything. It seems like they're the class of college football and will be for the foreseeable future. All right, so that'll do actually for a very fun video. This is the first time I've done a video like this in a while, so I hope all y'all enjoyed it. I will put the list in the description below if you want to, just check it out again, comment on it, or, just see the basic list if you just, for some reason, skipped all the way to the end and just wanted to see if I did post the list in the description below and you haven't checked that yet. I did. I will post that, the 5 outside, everything like that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. See ya.